It is now official that China and Brazil have just reached an agreement to abandon the US dollar. This could have significant implications for the US economy and the global economy. The second largest economy in the world is gradually cutting ties with the United States. I have to say that this is something to be taken very seriously. Let's talk about whether or not this is a topic to be concerned about. Watch until the end. You won't want to miss this. China has been growing rapidly in recent years, and its economy is set to become the largest in the world. This growth has given China more power and influence on the global stage, which could lead to a shift away from the US dollar. Some experts even believe that China could create a new financial system that rivals that of the US. The rise of China also presents a challenge to the US in terms of geopolitical power. China's Belt and Road Initiative, for example, has been seen as a way for China to expand its influence around the world. If China were to break the US dollar, it could further weaken the US's global influence. Do you think China is actually able to surpass the US dollar's influence around the world? Let's find out next. It's important to note that China still faces many challenges in its quest for dominance. These include a slowing economy, rising debt levels, and geopolitical tensions with the US and other countries. China's rise also poses challenges for other countries in the region, such as Japan and South Korea, who may feel threatened by China's growing power. Finally, it's worth noting that China's rise is not guaranteed. There are many factors that could derail China's growth, such as a financial crisis, environmental disasters, or political unrest. Second, let's talk about the trade war. Just imagine how deep this rabbit hole goes. The trade war between the US and China has been ongoing for several years now, and it has had a significant impact on both countries' economies. The US has been imposing tariffs on Chinese goods, which has hurt China's economy. In response, China has been looking for ways to reduce its dependence on the US dollar. The trade war has also affected other countries around the world as they are forced to choose between the US and China. Some countries, such as Japan and South Korea, have tried to remain neutral, but this has proved difficult given the size and influence of the US and China. It seems like the US and China are even rivals within the trade war, doesn't it? Let's learn more about this next. The trade war has also highlighted the importance of supply chains, as many companies have had to rethink their production and distribution strategies. The trade war has exposed the fragility of the global trading system, which relies heavily on cooperation between countries. If the United States and China continue to escalate their trade tensions, it could lead to a more fragmented and unstable global economy. Up next, let's talk about the United States' immense debt. The U.S. has a massive amount of debt, which currently stands at over $28 trillion. This debt is held by both foreign and domestic investors, with China being the largest foreign holder of U.S. debt. The U.S. debt is a ticking time bomb as it continues to grow at an unsustainable rate. If the U.S. were to default on its debt, it could trigger a global financial crisis. The U.S. debt also limits the U.S.'s ability to respond to economic crises, as it has less room to borrow and spend than it did in the past. The U.S. debt is also a reflection of the U.S.'s broader economic challenges, such as income inequality, low income growth, and a declining manufacturing sector. The U.S. debt is a reminder that no country is too big to fail, and that even the world's largest economy can face significant challenges. Up next, China's digital yuan. China has been working on developing its own digital currency, the digital yuan, which could potentially reduce its dependence on the US dollar. The digital yuan is already being tested in several cities in China and could be rolled out on a larger scale in the coming years. The digital yuan is also seen as a way for China to increase its control over its economy, as it would allow the government to monitor financial transactions more closely. However, the digital yuan also poses risks, such as potential privacy violations and the risk of cyber attacks. Do you think this is a smart move to make, creating a digital currency? Let's see. The digital yuan also poses challenges for other countries, as it could potentially be used to evade international sanctions and other financial regulations. The digital yuan is a reminder of the ongoing battle between countries to control the future of money and finance. Up next, the petrodollar. The US dollar has long been the dominant currency for oil trading, a system known as the petrodollar. This system has given the U.S. significant power and influence on the global stage, as other countries have had to purchase U.S. dollars in order to buy oil. However, this system is now being challenged by countries such as China and Russia, who are looking for ways to trade oil without using the U.S. dollar. The decline of the petrodollar could have significant implications for the global economy, as it would reduce the demand for U.S. dollars and potentially lead to a decline in the value of the dollar. If you thought this was a big deal, wait until you see what is next: the role of gold. Gold has long been seen as a safe haven asset, and it could potentially play a role in a world where the U.S. dollar is no longer the dominant currency. Countries such as China and Russia have been buying gold in recent years, which could be seen as a way to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar. Gold also has some advantages over digital currencies, such as the fact that it is a physical asset that cannot be easily manipulated. However, gold also has its limitations, such as the fact that it is not easily divisible or transportable. Gold is a reminder that in times of economic uncertainty, people often turn to tangible assets such as gold to protect their wealth. Now, what about Bitcoin? Let's take a look. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency that could potentially play a role in a world where the US dollar is no longer the dominant currency. Bitcoin has some advantages over traditional currencies, such as the fact that it is not controlled by any central authority and can be used for international transactions without the need for a middleman. However, Bitcoin also poses risks such as its volatility and the fact that it is often used for illegal activities. Bitcoin also faces competition from other cryptocurrencies, such as Ethereum and Ripple. Bitcoin is a reminder of the ongoing battle between traditional financial systems and emerging digital currencies. Just imagine how the world would change if Bitcoin were to overtake traditional financial systems. Global institutions such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank have traditionally been dominated by Western countries, particularly the US. However, the rise of China and other emerging economies has led to calls for these institutions to become more representative of the global economy. The US has been resistant to these calls for reform, which could further erode its global influence. The IMF and World Bank also face challenges in addressing global economic issues such as rising debt levels, income equality, and climate change. The role of global institutions is a reflection of the ongoing debate over how to address global economic challenges and ensure that the global economy is stable and equitable. Let's see what's next. International trade has been a driving force of global economic growth for decades, but it is now facing significant challenges. The rise of protectionist policies such as tariffs and trade barriers has led to a decline in global trade. The ongoing trade tensions between the US and China have also contributed to the decline in international trade. The decline in international trade could have significant implications for the global economy, as it could lead to reduced economic growth and increased political tensions. International trade is also a reminder of the interconnected nature of the global economy and the need for countries to work together to ensure economic stability. It may seem like the global economy is at risk. Let's see what else may contribute to this. Geopolitical tensions between countries, particularly between the US and China, have significant implications for the global economy. The ongoing trade tensions between the US and China have led to a decline in international trade and increased political tensions. The US and China are also engaged in a battle for technological dominance, which could have significant implications for the global economy. Geopolitical tensions could also lead to increased military spending and potential conflicts, which could further disrupt the global economy. Geopolitical tensions are a reminder of the complex and interconnected nature of the global economy and the need for countries to work together to address common challenges. Up next, the role of global debt. Global debt levels have reached historic highs, which could pose a significant risk to the global economy. Many countries, including the US and China, have high levels of debt that could be difficult to repay. High levels of debt could lead to reduced economic growth, increased financial instability, and potential defaults. Global debt is also a reminder of the need for countries to address underlying economic issues and ensure that their economies are sustainable in the long term. Who is to say which countries are able to fix their debt in order to lessen this issue. Let's see what we are able to do about this situation ourselves. Individuals can also play a role in the changing global economy by making conscious decisions about their financial and economic behavior. Individuals can invest in tangible assets such as gold, diversify their investment portfolios, and support local businesses. Individuals can also advocate for policies that promote economic stability, sustainability, and equality. Individual action is a reminder that the global economy is made up of individuals and communities, and that individual decisions can have significant impacts on the wider world. Well, should we worry about this at all? Yes. The global economy is undergoing significant changes, and the decline of the US dollar as the dominant global currency is just one of the many factors driving these changes. The rise of China and other emerging economies, technical advancements, geopolitical tensions, global debt, and individual action are all shaping the future of the global economy. While these changes may be disruptive and uncertain, they also represent opportunities for innovation, growth, and cooperation. As individuals and communities, we can play a role in shaping the future of the global economy by making conscious decisions about our financial and economic behavior, advocating for policies that promote sustainability and equality, and working together to address common challenges. It's clear that the global economy is in a state of flux, and that the days of the US dollar as the dominant global currency may be numbered. But with careful planning, cooperation, and a focus on long-term sustainability, we can build a new global economic system that benefits everyone. One thing that may or may not help in this situation is to subscribe to Top Biz TV today for more content like this one.